more time to go diving. I've been diving in the Philippines about 15 years, and I've been working with companies there since about 2005, and it's really a beautiful place to visit. Something that you want to add definitely to your bucket list of places to visit. So again, my name is JR Kalanock with One Virtual Source. Tonight we're going to be talking about best practices in outsourcing. And what I do with OVS is I'm basically in charge of learning more about your companies, about your businesses. What are the technology projects that you have currently or that you're about to do, right? And then what I do is I make sure that you connect as best you can with international vendors, technology vendors. And then we make sure that we just don't connect you with someone on a price point. We want to make sure we connect you guys to someone that matches your business processes, someone you can potentially have a beer with, and someone who has a really good propensity to be a long-term partner, right? So that's what I do with OVS. The OVS project actually started in this building about a year ago, 4th floor. The Department of Trade and Industry reached out to us about a year ago, and said, hey JR, is there a way that we can promote a couple of the Philippine companies to the US market? And these are companies that do high-level work, right? They do software development, they do creative design, animation, game development, iOS design, business process outsourcing, contact centers, really great top-of-the-line companies. How do we promote them to the US market? Because they don't have that much of a visibility right now. So we took that back to our team. We got Nancy Kwan, our co-founder there. Hey, Nancy, hi. We got Christine back there. She does business dev. But basically what we did was we took that question and we did a lot of research and we thought about it really hard. And what we found was there's a big gap in a platform that allows US companies to reach international tech companies. How do I reach them? How do I talk to them? How do I find them? And how do I interact with them? So there's a big gap right now to connect that, right? So what we did was about 8 months ago, we started building One Virtual Source website, right? And what we started seeing was companies, when we turned on the website late December of last year, we currently have about 60 of the top software development companies in the Philippines on the platform. That's around 3,000 developers ready to work with your projects. But what we started seeing was US companies started posting their software projects on our website. Right? They said we need a website, or we need an iOS app. So then we started seeing the Philippine companies bid on these projects. They were submitting really good bids and really good proposals. They were quality, and it was really impressive. So what happened next was these companies in the US started communicating with the companies in the Philippines, started getting to know each other, working out the contracts, and finally closing a deal, tracking the status of their project all on the website, and making payments for projects that actually have gone through, quality projects that have gone through the site. So we started seeing that, and it was actually, we started getting really excited about it. So what we learned was, and what we noticed was, larger companies, corporations, they're a little bit more used to working with international companies. So they actually have their own procurement department. They have templates already set for the request for proposals. And they actually fly their people over to India, China, Russia, Philippines to meet with all the different companies. So the OVS platform has actually helped out a little bit in cutting some of their costs, because one of the things that we do is we work with the Department of Trade and Industry to vet these companies in the Philippines to make sure they're legitimate, they're actually there, and they do a good job, and we look at their portfolio and everything. So that's one of the things that we saw. The second thing that we noticed was entrepreneurs like yourselves, business owners, and startups. What we noticed was the startups really did need a little bit more support and some information on how to get started with working with international companies. And so when we started working with these startups and we started talking to them a little bit more, they started realizing, oh, okay, there's a way to do it. We decided, well, this is why we should have this event tonight. So we can actually bring you some of our best practices and talk a little bit about how you can get started as an entrepreneur, as a business person, how you can get started working with international companies. So tonight, we're going to have several speakers. first, we're going to have Michael Ignacio, who is the Department of Trade Commissioner. He's going to be here. Michael Ignacio is actually the person that posed us that question. Is there a way to promote Philippine companies? Right? So it's actually all his fault. Then we have a couple speakers coming all the way from the Philippines through virtual, our actually integrated online virtual platform where you can kind of communicate and talk there. So you can see them there. They're still on mute, but Todd Musgrove is on top and Arup, they're waving. I guess they can hear us. Hey guys. All right. So they'll be talking about how to find the best partner, international vendors. And based on their experience, they'll also talk about, once you've found a good partner, how do you work with these partners? What are the best practices, right? And then we'll also have a quick 5-minute demo of how to get started on the OVS platform. So if you have a project, how to post that and get started. And then in the end, we'll have a quick Q&A to answer some of your questions, right? But before I bring Mike Ignacio up, Acting Consul General Reginald is here. So we were introducing him here, so we asked him if he could say a couple quick words. So.
Thank you, JR. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends. On behalf of the officers and members of the Philippine Consulate General and its partners, the Philippine Trade and Investment Center, Silicon Valley, the Department of Tourism, and the Philippine Center Management Board, allow me to wish you a warm welcome to the Philippine Center and to this evening's event, the launch by One Virtual Source of its online service delivery platform, piloting world-class Philippine companies with the best practices executive session in San Francisco. Ladies and gentlemen, we hold this event at the Philippine Center to underscore how the Philippine Consulate General, through efforts spearheaded by the PTIC under Trade Commissioner Michael Ignacio, greatly supports that entrepreneurial spirit of the members of our community, particularly by our younger members of the younger generation of Filipino Americans, while at the same time, we try to promote Philippine business interests and enhance their presence at the world stage. We would like to thank Trade Commissioner Ignacio and his office for the great work that they have been doing and for continuing to do so towards achieving these ends. Let's give a great round of applause for It is indeed our desired goal to harness our younger generation's talent and creativity, dynamism and invigorated outlook, whether they are in the US or in the Philippines, in spanning the great connect between the two countries and in maximizing the great potentials of an interchange of the best practices, of the best in terms of best business practices and services between the IT-rich San Francisco Bay Area and Asia's newest growth center and the hub of skill and talent, the Philippines. Tonight's event hopefully shall serve as a catalyst towards these endeavors and a signal event for the rest to follow. We would like to commend OVS, headed by its very dynamic and energetic CEO, Mr. J.R. Kalam. Round of applause for Mr. Kalam. And their business partners, BlastAsia and Mundomo, for this great pioneering work for Philippine providers, and to assure them of our continued support and wish them all the best and success in their enterprise. Thank you and mabuhay.
So I'd like to go ahead and introduce Mr. Mike Ignacio, who is the Philippine Department of Trade Commissioner. Mr. Mike.
Thank you, JR. Thank you, Consul Reginald Bernabe, who made me blush so much. And just to give him back a bit of his medicine, Acting Consul General Reginald Bernabe was also Deputy Chief of Presidential Protocol for the 4 past presidents in Malacanang. So let's give him a big to acknowledge our other fabulous consul, Rachel Quinones, who is actually of the consulate. So she's our partner in this work of promoting business with the Philippines. And lastly, I'd like to acknowledge the president of the Science and Technology Advisory Council, one of our strongest supporters and partners, Christina Laskowski. And Danny Roja, investment banker and business development expert, who's also part of our so I'm here today to give you an overview about the Philippine IT and business process management industry of the Philippines. It's a rising star, actually. Next slide, please. Page down. Just a bit of a throwback. This slide was sometime in 2012, and it said that if we hit our target in 2012, we would have about 10.6% of the global IT BPO market, and that's worth about $13.4 billion. Next slide, please. So in 2011 and 2012, this was the mix. 67% of all our services were invoiced. 19% were KPO, knowledge process outsourcing, back office. A lot of the other things that you do that did not involve voice and call centers. And IT was 9%. Next slide, please. So yes, I'm very happy to report that in 2012, we reached and surpassed that target, and we are right on track for our roadmap of 7.8% of GDP by 2016, and direct employment of 1.3 million outsourcing employees in the Philippines by that time. So we are right on track. So why is the world doing this? Why are they all working with the Philippines? I'd like to discuss, next slide please, a few of these value propositions of why the Philippines is a top offshore BPO location for the world's multinationals and businesses. Well, the first reason is we have the people. We have scalable, educated talent, and that is our most important asset. The second is cost. We're very competitive towards cost. And third is we have an excellent infrastructure. And fourth, government support is very strong. And the last is we have a proven track record. Next slide, please. So, just to discuss our scalable educated talent pool, we're the third largest English-speaking country in the world, and the 12th most populous. We're about 100 million, 106 million people now. We're actually an excellent test market. I just had a meeting today with a company that wanted to sell wines from California in the Philippines, and I told them, I think you're in the right place. We're 106 million people, and we're integrating with the Southeast Asian countries for the ASEAN single market soon. And soon they'll have access through the Philippines to 600 million people. And that 600 million ASEAN market is composed of 106 million from the Philippines and about 250 million from Indonesia. And then we have about 500,000 college graduates every year. And one of the world's highest literacy rates, English speaking. Our training is Western-based. I'd like to say it's more American-based because of our history. And our legal and accounting systems are also very similar to the US and the Western world. Next slide, please. So I'd like to give more details. We have an abundant labor pool of about it's close to 45, 50 million now. There's about 500,000 college graduates every year, 3,000 plus CPAs every year. English proficiency in other languages are present in the country. I grew up in a household where we spoke 3 languages, so I think it's very natural for Filipinos to be switching from one language to the other. We have a very strong affinity with Western culture. Those of us know that we were bred, convent bred, and educated with the Americans. Because of our history, we were a colony of Spain for 300 years. Our natural culture, it makes us very friendly, and we're very, very open. We're actually very warm, I think. And of course, we're also highly trainable. So compared to other countries, back when the world had only 92 million Filipinos in this chart, we were already ranked among the rest of the world countries. Next slide, please. So these are the hubs all over the Philippines. You see a huge concentration in Metro Manila, which is composed of about 12 to 15 cities. I'm not really sure now. It's been growing. So Metro Manila alone has about maybe 15 million population by day, about 12 million, 13 million by night. But then there are also other centers like Baguio, Cebu, Bacolod, Iloilo, Davao, all over the city, all over the country. And by the way, we're 7,106. Next slide, please. Then I'd like to discuss cost. Why are we very competitive with cost? We are among the lowest cost in terms of employment for English-speaking professionals. And then our inflation is actually predictable and very manageable compared to others. Next slide, please. So this chart shows you why we're among the most competitive, cost-competitive destinations. We're right there, second to the last. I think the lowest is New Delhi. Next slide, please. So we're also among the lowest costing countries that provide IT services and non-BPO work in the world. Among the lowest. Next slide, please. And also for IT. Then I would like to go ahead and discuss our excellent infrastructure. Next slide, please. We have abundant, low cost, and high quality real estate in several urban areas. And we actually have several business districts like Makati. And people who haven't been to the Philippines are quite surprised when they see us and how we live, how people work there. Next slide, please. Then I discuss government support and public-private partnership. So next slide. We have among the world's most competitive incentives. So that's why a lot of the world's economies and businesses come to the Philippines to do business. This is a list. I could discuss this with you individually, but among the highlights is we have 4 to 6 years of zero tax for the first 4 to 6 years in the Philippines. And after that, it will be 5% gross rate on your revenues forever. And that's very competitive. Next slide, please. Next slide. So we have a proven track record. Next slide. Oh, back. So this is the wide range of, next slide, please, of services that we offer. So we have IT applications, business process services, and engineering services. These are the companies that are there. So this is the projection timeline of the nature of companies. First were the pioneers, the countries that started it all back about 12, 15 years ago. And then the multinationals came and put up their shared services in the Philippines. And then the call centers came in droves in early 2000. And then realizing that we have better proficiency in terms of language with respect to clients in the US. The Indian companies also started coming in 2004, mid-2006. And then lastly, the large multinationals all came and realized that fact. So now we are one of the world's biggest providers of IT. Next slide, please. So that, more graphics and charts for you, and company logos. Next slide, please. So these are the top companies that are in the Philippines, and you recognize them as among the best in the world. They're all in the Philippines, and I think more than half of these have most of their workforce based in the Philippines, globally. So that's it. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. I have an announcement to make. JR is actually making me work when I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to be at home packing and putting my things in boxes because my end of term and tenure is ending by end of the month. But this is so precious to me. I would like to thank One Virtual Source, JR and his incredible team, Nancy, for heeding our call. So I said, JR, I said back then, what if we built something like eBay? Instead of selling Philippine goods, we just sell Philippine IT services. IT services and creative services that we can be proud of. And he actually did it. I was so surprised that in 5 months, they were able to build a world-class platform. And now they're able to raise their seed funding without any fuss. And now they have revenues coming in, and they're generating business, income, and jobs for Filipino providers and professionals. So congratulations, One Virtual Source. Thank you.